Stop, right where you are. Do not move one more step through this day without hearing what I am about to tell you. Do not carry one more hour of what you have been carrying before you receive what I have brought to your door. I am Archangel Michael. I serve the Most High directly. I do not appear at random. I do not speak without a mandate. I do not arrive at anyone's life without a specific divine assignment already written and sealed in the heavenly record. And my assignment today is you. Not a general audience, not a broad category of souls who could use encouragement. You, the particular person with the particular history and the particular accumulation of unanswered prayers that heaven has been watching build up over a season of your life that stretched far longer than was ever supposed to be your portion. I have come today because that season ends here, not next week, not when circumstances improve. Here, now, this moment. Hear me clearly. Before I tell you what is coming, I must first tell you what I see, not the version of you that faces the world, not the performance, not the carefully maintained exterior that says, I am fine, when everything inside you is anything but. I see the real landscape, the interior one, the one that only surfaces at midnight, when the house goes quiet and the guard finally comes down. What I see is someone who has been carrying things alone for far too long. Someone who made a decision, somewhere along the way, in some quiet, private moment, that their needs were less urgent than everyone else's, that their pain was less valid than keeping the peace, that their exhaustion was not reason enough to ask for help. You have been living inside that decision for years, and it has cost you more than you have ever allowed yourself to fully calculate. I see the prayers you stopped saying out loud, not because you stopped believing, but because speaking them one more time and then watching the silence arrive felt like something you could not absorb without something fundamental in you breaking. So the prayers went underground. They became a low, wordless, constant ache that rides just beneath the surface of your ordinary days. Hear me on this. Heaven received every one of those prayers, the ones you spoke and the ones you swallowed. Not a single word was lost. Not a single cry drifted into empty air. They were received. They were cataloged. Every last one of them was heard by ears that never miss anything you direct their way. And today, they are being answered. The answer to the prayer you had nearly stopped believing could ever come has already left the heavenly storehouse. It is on its way to you right now. Today, it was dispatched in your name. Nothing can intercept it. Nothing can reroute it. It is coming directly to you. I also see the exhaustion of pretending, the relentless performance of having it together, the way you absorb everyone else's crises and perpetually postpone your own needs, the way you have learned, through sheer repetition, to make yourself smaller in spaces where you were built to occupy your full size. I am not naming this to expose you or to make you feel seen in a way that is uncomfortable. I am naming it because you deserve to be looked at directly, with honesty, with recognition. The version of you that exists behind the performance, the real one, the one that sometimes sits with a cup of tea in the early morning and feels, just for a moment, the full weight of what it has actually meant to be you during this particular stretch. That person is who this letter was written for. That person is who heaven is, honoring today with a visitation that will rearrange the structure of their life from the ground up.
I want you to pause for just a moment and look at what I am holding right now. This photograph came sealed inside this same envelope. Archangel Michael sent it as a visual confirmation of exactly what he is declaring over your life today. Look at it. Look at who has arrived at your door this morning. This is not a symbol. This is not artwork for decoration. This is a portrait of the one who has been dispatched in your name, the one standing between you and everything that has tried to stop you. Look at him and know that as of today, he is standing at your gate.
There is someone I must bring before you first. Before I speak about the practical shifts that are already in motion for your life, someone who has not stopped being present with you, simply because they are no longer present in the physical world. A woman. Someone whose love for you was not decorative, not occasional, not fragile. It was foundational. The kind of love that became part of the bedrock of who you are, so deeply embedded that you carry her in ways you do not even consciously recognize from one day to the next. She was a woman who prayed, who worked with her hands and her will, who held things together through sheer determination that was never loudly celebrated, but was absolutely, irrevocably essential. She may have been your mother, your grandmother, perhaps an aunt who was more mother to you than aunt. Perhaps a woman who arrived at a formative moment in your life and became something permanent. Whatever her role, her love for you was among the most genuine and unguarded things you have ever received from any human being. And I need you to know, it has not ended. She did not leave you. That is the first thing she needs you to hear. The departure of her body was not a departure of her presence. She has remained as close to you as she ever was. Closer, in some ways, because she now sees the full picture of who you are and where you are going without the limitations of a physical vantage point. She watches your days. She is aware of details about your current circumstances that would astonish you if you understood the full extent of her knowledge. She has been present in moments when you did not sense her. She has been speaking in ways you registered as something else, a sudden, inexplicable calm that arrived without source, a memory of her that surfaced without apparent trigger, a moment of unexpected knowing that steered you away from something harmful. That was her, every single time. Those were her fingerprints on your ordinary days. She has something specific to say to you through this letter. She has watched you carry guilt about her that she refuses to let you keep. The words you wish you had said. The visits you wish had been more frequent. The conversations you believe you should have had while there was still time. Release them. All of them. Right now. Because those are not the stories she tells when she speaks of you on the other side of this veil. The story she tells is one of love, of the ways you showed up for her even when it cost you something, of the things you carried for her that she witnessed even when she could not always find the words to say so. The story she tells is one of pride, not complicated pride, not conditional pride. Simple, clean, enormous pride. The kind a mother or grandmother carries when she watches someone she loves exceed even what she imagined for them. She also has a practical word that she is insisting I deliver. She has been watching your health, and she is concerned, not in a manner meant to frighten you. She is not bringing a message of alarm, but she sees you dismissing things in your body that deserve your attention. Physical signals you have been filing under, "I will deal with that later," for months. She demands that you move later to soon. Make the appointment you have been postponing. Have the conversation with your doctor you have been avoiding because some part of you fears what might be confirmed. She wants you to know that what you will hear is more manageable than what your fear has been building in its place. Your body needs your attention. You owe it to the people who love you and to her to care for the vessel that carries your life forward. And beyond every practical thing, she is asking you to rest. Not as a reward you must earn first. As a gift, you are allowed to give yourself today, without waiting until every task is done and every person is taken care of and the list is finally empty. The list will never be empty. Rest anyway. She is not asking. She is insisting.
Stop. Before we go further into this letter, Archangel Michael placed this card inside the envelope for a reason. Read these words carefully. These are not general statements. This is a declaration written specifically over your life. Read it out loud if you can, because the moment you speak these words, you are entering into an agreement with what heaven has already established.
There is one final thing she is commanding me to say. A day is coming, not far from now, when you will stand in a place of abundance and peace so unfamiliar it will feel almost foreign after the season you have been in. You will look around and barely recognize this as the same life. In that moment, she wants you to let yourself be fully happy, without the old instinct to brace against what might go wrong, without the shadow of old losses dimming the light of what has arrived. She will be there watching. And what will make her most completely joyful is watching you receive everything that is coming with your whole heart open. No walls, no held breath, just the full, unguarded joy of someone who has finally come home. Now, I must speak with you directly about your finances, and I need you to hear me without armoring yourself against what I am about to declare, because I understand that money is territory where you have been disappointed enough times that a protective wall has been erected around your spirit whenever someone begins making declarations about financial blessing. You have heard promises. You have hoped. You have sometimes been let down. That defense your heart built is understandable. But what I am bringing you today is not a promise manufactured by human lips. It is a decree, a binding spiritual declaration originating from a throne room that does not traffic in empty words. What I speak here is already done in the realm where all things are established before your natural eyes can confirm them. Do not filter what I am saying through your history of disappointment. Receive it through the authority of the one who sent me. Here is what you must understand about the state of your finances, what you have been living, the tightness, the chronic shortfalls, the exhausting arithmetic of what can wait and what cannot, the quiet shame that surfaces when you compare your reality to what you feel you should have by now. This was not simply the product of your choices alone. Hear this clearly. There has been a suppression operating in your financial atmosphere, a spiritual ceiling deliberately placed over your earning, your receiving, your capacity to accumulate, not placed there by heaven, placed there by opposition, by forces that recognized what you carry and made a calculated determination that the most efficient way to limit your impact on the world was to cut off your access to the resources you need to function at your designed capacity. Poverty was never written into your story by the hand that created you. It was written in by something that did not want your story to reach its intended ending. Today, I am removing that cap. I am tearing out those pages. I am lifting the suppression with the full authority of heaven, backing every word I speak. The financial shift that begins today is not a minor adjustment. It is not a marginal improvement layered onto an otherwise unchanged situation. It is a restructuring, a fundamental realignment of the direction in which resources flow toward your life. Beginning today, what was being consistently and inexplicably redirected away from you just before it reached your hands will begin arriving. Opportunities that stalled beyond all reasonable explanation will complete themselves. Connections that were severed before they could produce fruit will reattach and begin to bear. The financial territory that was suppressed is entering a season of compressed recovery, meaning the growth that was withheld over years does not trickle back gradually. It arrives with the full momentum of everything that was delayed at once, pressing through the newly opened channel, the way a river presses through a dam the moment it breaks. You will feel the force of it.
I need you to look at this image right now. This is not just a picture. This is the visual declaration of what Archangel Michael just announced over your financial life. Look at what happens when the suppression is removed. Look at the force of what has been held back now breaking through. This is what today looks like in the spiritual realm for your finances. What was held behind that wall is now flooding toward you. Do not look away from this. Let it settle into your spirit. This is your reality beginning today.
What does this mean in practical terms? Within the next several days, you will see a first signal. It may be money arriving from a source you were not counting on. It may be an offer, a proposal, a conversation that opens a door that was sealed before now. It may be a resolution to a financial matter that has been sitting unresolved far beyond its natural timeline. However, the first signal arrives. Do not rationalize it away. Do not minimize it as coincidence or call it ordinary luck. It is confirmation. It is the first visible evidence of the restructuring that is already complete in the spiritual realm, pressing through into the physical. Receive it with full gratitude, and then watch for what follows. Because the first signal is not the whole delivery. It is the announcement that the delivery is already in transit. But before I go further, I must tell you something that I have been holding back until now. Something about your current situation that is more personal and more specific than anything I have said to you so far. There is someone in your life right now who is not who they appear to be. Stay with this letter, because what comes next is going to make something that has been quietly confusing you for months suddenly make complete sense. Your work also demands to be addressed. The effort you pour into what you do, and the devastating gap between what that effort produces and what it is actually worth. You have been operating in an environment that has consistently undervalued you, where the return on your investment of time and skill and creative energy has been a fraction of what you actually bring to the table. This is ending. The season you are entering is one where what you are worth finally begins to be reflected in what you receive. A repositioning is coming, not through dramatic confrontation, but through a natural realignment that places you at a level calibrated to your actual capacity. If you work for someone else, watch for that movement. If you work for yourself, watch for your work to begin attracting the clients, the contracts, and the recognition that actually matches what you deliver. If you carry a skill or a gift that has not yet been fully deployed, the season for that deployment has arrived. The door between your gift and its full expression is being opened today. Walk through it. There is something else I must place before you. Something that requires a different kind of directness, not comfortable, but absolutely necessary for your protection and your advancement going forward. There is someone in your life right now who is not what they present themselves to be. I am not speaking of an obvious adversary. I am speaking of someone in proximity, someone familiar, someone who wears warmth and loyalty, convincingly enough that you have found it genuinely difficult to see what moves underneath the surface. This is a man. He may be a friend, a colleague, a neighbor, an extended family member, or someone who entered your life gradually by being consistently present in small, helpful ways that accumulated into trust over time. He is charming with the particular smoothness of someone who has practiced charm. The kind that feels natural until you learn to detect the calculation that underlies it. He asks about your life, your plans, your resources, your relationships, not from genuine interest in your well-being, but because information is currency to him. What he learns about you, he uses, sometimes to position himself advantageously, sometimes to quietly redirect opportunities away from you, sometimes simply to hold knowledge over you as a form of power you can feel, but never quite name.
Archangel Michael placed this card in this envelope for someone who needed to read it today. If you have been feeling that someone close to you is not entirely who they appear to be, this card is for you. Read it. Say it out loud. Because the moment you acknowledge what heaven is showing you, the exposure has already begun. And stay with this letter, because right after the warning about this person, Archangel Michael has something completely different to say. Something about love, something I think you have been waiting a very long time to hear.
He does not want to see you rise. That is the core truth about him. Your success creates a dissonance in him because he has run the comparison between his life and yours and arrived at a conclusion that your advancement diminishes his standing. He is not consciously malicious. He may not even fully understand what drives him, but the energy he directs towards you in private, in conversations about you that you do not know are happening, in the quiet work he does against your name, is not the energy of someone who cheers for you. It is the energy of someone who needs you to remain manageable so that he can feel secure in his own position. He will be exposed, not by anything you need to orchestrate or manufacture. The exposure will be organic and inevitable. It always is, because hidden motivations eventually surface through the inconsistencies in behavior that no amount of performance can permanently conceal. You will see something. You will hear something. You will notice a detail that does not match the story he has been presenting. And in that moment, the full picture will arrange itself before you with a clarity that is simultaneously painful and enormously freeing. When that moment arrives, and it is arriving, do not second-guess what you see. Do not offer charitable explanations that require you to ignore what is plainly visible. Trust your perception. Act accordingly. And then release him, not with anger, but with absolute finality, from the access to your life that he was never entitled to and that your elevated season has no room for. There is also a woman I must name. She is different from the man I just described. She is not calculating. She is simply envious, in a way that is raw enough that if you examine your honest feeling about the dynamic between you, you already know something is wrong. She watches your life with an intensity that exceeds ordinary interest. She tracks what you wear, how people receive you, what opportunities come your way, what changes you make, what forward movement you demonstrate. She does this not from admiration, but from a place of deep longing for something she believes you possess that she lacks. And because she cannot honestly address what is missing in her own interior life, she channels that deficit into a persistent, low-grade campaign of subtle negativity aimed in your direction. Unsolicited advice that carries a concealed edge. Concern that always manages to mention something unflattering. The remarkable ability to always surface and repeat information about you that reflects poorly. She is not a full enemy, but she is not an ally. And the energy she directs toward your name has been creating interference in the spiritual atmosphere of your life. That interference ends today. Neither of these two people requires a confrontation from you. They will be handled by the same divine justice that is already moving over your life. Your responsibility is simply to begin protecting your inner circle with the seriousness it deserves. Not every person who has been granted access to your life has earned that access. Start distinguishing between the people who leave you feeling lighter after you engage with them, and the people who leave you feeling subtly drained or unsettled without clear cause. That distinction is not imagination. It is discernment. Honor it. Act on it. The season you are entering requires a clean circle. People of genuine love, real loyalty, and authentic investment in your flourishing. Those people are already on their way, as the ones occupying space without earning it are naturally displaced.
Look at this image. Look at it carefully. This is what Archangel Michael is building around your life right now as you receive this letter. A circle, a protected circle, a perimeter of divine light around the people who truly belong in your story, and a boundary that the wrong ones simply cannot cross. What you are seeing in this photograph is not fantasy. It is the spiritual reality being established over your life today. The ones meant to be with you in this new season are already approaching, and everything that was never supposed to have access to you is already being moved out.
I want to speak now about love, about what is being realigned in that specific and personal territory of your life by heaven's direct intervention today. Your history with love has been complicated. You gave it genuinely and had it returned carelessly. You trusted the tender places in your heart to people who did not handle what you offered them. with the care it deserved. Some departed. Some stayed and inflicted damage that was more disorienting than an outright departure, because they were close enough to wound you in places that only proximity can reach. The cumulative result is that love now demands something of you that it did not demand when you were younger. A negotiation between your deep longing for genuine connection and the protective instincts that your experience assembled in the aftermath of being hurt. That negotiation is exhausting. It makes you choose distance when everything inside you wants closeness. It makes you hesitate at the door when you were designed to walk through it freely. Hear me on this negotiation. The caution you developed was appropriate for the season that created it. The walls you built were not failures of faith or courage. They were the correct response of a wise person to experiences that genuinely warranted a more careful approach to trust. But, and I need you to hold this, the season that made those walls necessary is ending. What that means practically is that walls which were once protection have now become a barrier. They are still filtering out what was designed to harm you, but they are also buffering the arrival of something that was specifically designed to heal you. Something qualitatively different from anything that came before. The relationship approaching your life in this new season is not a continuation of any pattern that caused you pain. It carries a different architecture entirely, a foundational steadiness, a genuine mutual recognition. The kind of connection where you are not required to be anyone other than exactly who you are in order to be cherished. This person is not a former partner returning with renegotiated intentions. This is someone you have not yet fully known, someone either at the periphery of your life right now, about to move dramatically closer, or someone approaching from entirely outside your current circles through a door you did not expect to open. What you must understand about this person is that they are not arriving to fix you or rescue you. They are arriving to stand beside you as an equal, as a companion built for the elevated life you are walking into, not as a solution to the diminished life you are walking out of. The difference between those two things is enormous. When this person arrives, you will not recognize them by the anxiety or hypervigilance they produce in you. You will recognize them by the extraordinary steadiness they bring, as if something in you that has been slightly off balance for years has finally located its center of gravity.
This next card. This one stopped me when I first pulled it out of this envelope, because I know someone watching right now has been waiting, sometimes patiently, sometimes not, for real love, not the kind that hurts, the kind that holds. Read what Archangel Michael has declared here. Read it and receive it as a promise written specifically with your name in mind.
In preparation for this arrival, today I am asking one thing of you internally. Release the specific picture of how this must look. Release the imagined timeline, the expected packaging, the mental image you have been carrying of exactly how it is supposed to arrive. Heaven's deliveries do not always match the wrapping we imagined. Sometimes what is meant for you arrives from an unexpected direction, in an unexpected form, at a timing that was never on your personal schedule. If you grip a rigid image of what this love must look like to qualify, you may walk directly past the actual thing. Open your hands. Trust that what is coming exceeds what you have pictured. because the one who designed it for you knows you more completely than you know yourself, and what he has arranged for your heart is something your imagination has not yet fully visited. There is a specific window of time I must tell you about. It is opening today. It extends through the next 9 days, and you must not walk through it unconsciously. Every so often, the conditions in the heavenly and earthly realms align in a way that creates an accelerated channel between what is declared in faith and what manifests in visible reality. These windows do not broadcast themselves. They do not arrive with announcements. Most souls walk through them completely unaware, allowing the acceleration that was available to them to pass unused. I am telling you about this one in advance so that you steward it with intention. During these 9 days, the words you speak over your own life carry amplified weight. This is not mysticism. This is the natural operation of spiritual law under unusually favorable conditions. Every declaration you make about your future, every time you choose to speak from the language of someone who has received a promise, rather than someone still waiting for one, those words are doing real work in an unusually receptive atmosphere. Do not waste these 9 days complaining. Do not spend them rehearsing what went wrong. Speak with the precision and authority of someone who has been given reliable intelligence from the highest possible source, because you have been. Use this window deliberately. There are 3 specific actions I am requiring of you during these 9 days. The first, name the 3 most specific things you are trusting heaven to deliver in this season. Not vague requests for blessing, specific, nameable things, and speak them aloud every morning of these 9 days, not as petitions, but as declarations of arrival. Do not say, I am hoping for. Say, this is mine. This is already established. This is coming. The second action, identify someone in genuine need within your orbit, someone you have the capacity to help, even partially, and do something for them during this window. Not because you must earn what is coming. What is coming is already established, but because giving during a season of receiving builds a spiritual atmosphere of abundance around your life that transforms arrival from a surprise into a homecoming. The third action, guard your peace during these 9 days as if it were the most valuable thing you own, because right now, it is. Every unnecessary argument you refuse to have, every drama you decline to enter, every person who attempts to pull you into their chaos and is met with a firm and gracious "not today." Each of those moments is an act of stewardship over the channel through which your breakthrough flows.
9 days. Today is day 1. And I want you to look at this image and understand what these 9 days represent. This is the gate. This is the door that has been thrown open in the spiritual realm specifically for you in this window of time. Look at the light pouring through it. Look at what is on the other side. This is not closed anymore. It is open, wide open. And Archangel Michael is standing just on the other side of it, holding it open, waiting for you to step through. 9 days. Do not waste a single one.
"9 days. Today is day 1. Do not sleep through a single one of them. And now, I must tell you about something that happened today that makes every promise in this letter not just hopeful, but permanently binding. There was a hearing in the heavenly courts. A verdict was delivered in your favor. Stay with me, because what I reveal next is the most important legal and spiritual development of everything I have told you today. I must now tell you about something that happened today in the unseen realm. Something you cannot observe with natural eyes, but that is more real than anything currently visible in your physical circumstances. A legal matter has been settled. I use the word legal both literally, for those of you with actual unresolved legal situations, and spiritually, because what I am describing applies to every person receiving this message. In the heavenly courts today, a case that had been brought against your future was heard and adjudicated. The forces that filed claims against your destiny, the claims of too late, the claims of not worthy, the claims of this one is too broken by their history to be trusted with the fullness of what was promised. Those claims were dismissed, thrown out entirely. Not because your record was spotless, not because you performed perfectly enough to earn it, but because the advocate who stood for you in that court operates from a position of authority that no opposing voice in existence can match. And what he declared on your behalf was not your merit, but your covenant, the promise written in your name before you were born, the agreement established before you ever did a single thing to earn it or disqualify it. That covenant was upheld today, and its upholding carries binding legal implications for every dimension of your life from this point forward. What was blocked by adversarial claims cannot be blocked any longer. The injunction that was keeping your resources, your opportunities, your relationships, and your peace under a spiritual restraining order has been lifted today by a judge whose ruling is final, whose authority is absolute, whose decisions require no appeal and admit no reversal. If there is a literal official matter in your life, paperwork that is stuck, a process that is stalled beyond reason, a dispute that drags on past all natural logic, watch for movement. The spiritual interference contributing to that delay has been removed. What remains is only the natural speed of a process that is no longer being held against its will. Things will move. Watch for it with alert eyes. I want to take a moment now and speak to you about your children and your grandchildren, because for the majority of you receiving this letter, the deepest layer of motivation underneath everything, beneath every prayer about finances and health and relationships, is family, the people who came from you or came through you, the ones whose futures are tied to your own in ways that make your personal difficulties feel doubly heavy, because they were never only yours. Here is what I see in the generation that follows you. Something extraordinary is being developed in them. A depth of character, a spiritual resilience, a capacity for genuine compassion that could not have been manufactured in comfortable circumstances. It was forged in them by watching you. By watching you hold on when releasing would have been far easier. By watching you maintain your integrity when a shortcut was available and tempting. By watching you love without requiring perfection in return. By watching you pray when the evidence for prayer producing results was almost non-existent. They absorbed every one of those things. They are carrying them now. Some do not yet know what they are carrying, but it is there. And in the years ahead, it will prove to be among the most valuable things they have ever owned.
This card is for every mother, every grandmother, every woman who has poured herself into the generation that comes after her and wondered whether any of it mattered. Read this. Read it slowly. This is Archangel Michael's direct word over your family line. What you built through tears is not wasted, not a drop of it, and do not go anywhere, because after this, he is going to say something very specific about your body, something about your health that I want you to be ready to hear. Stay with us.
The shift beginning in your life today will be felt by them. As the suppression over you is lifted, the atmosphere in which they live and grow changes. The weight they have absorbed from the stress of your difficult season. And children absorb more than adults recognize. Grandchildren too, across whatever distance separates them. That weight will lighten for them as it lightens for you. Doors closed to you will open for them. Patterns that repeated through your family line for generations will be broken in your generation. Because you were the one who refused to normalize them. Because you were the one who kept your face pointed towards something better, even when better was entirely out of sight. The generational blessing releasing over you today does not stop with you. It flows forward into futures not yet lived, into lives not yet born. The prayers you prayed that felt unanswered will be answered in ways you may not see in your own lifetime, but that will be unmistakably present in the generations that carry what you built. This is your legacy, not a property, not an account balance, the alteration of a family trajectory, the generation when the ceiling became the floor. It begins today. Your body has been giving you signals. I will speak to this with complete directness because the state of your physical health matters not only in itself, but because every other dimension of your life is carried in the same vessel. You have been pushing through physical discomfort and fatigue using the same method you apply to emotional difficulty, gritting your teeth, continuing to function, telling yourself you will address it properly when things settle down. Things will not settle down on their own schedule and then grant you permission to care for yourself. You must choose to attend to yourself, regardless of whether the circumstances have quieted first. The physical areas demanding your attention, the sleep that is too thin and too broken, the persistent pain or tension in your back, your joints, your neck that you keep pushing past as if it is a minor inconvenience, the energy levels that have been below what is normal for you for far longer than ordinary tiredness can explain. These are not things to indefinitely defer. They are your body communicating in the only language it has. Respond to that communication. Make the appointment you have been avoiding. Have the conversation with a medical professional that you have postponed because you are afraid of what you might hear. I will tell you what I see. The health situation that concerns you is not as serious as what your fear has been constructing. The outcome that anxiety keeps forecasting is not what is written for you. Your body is far more capable of recovery than the weight of this difficult season has allowed you to recognize. But recovery requires your cooperation. It requires rest. It requires care. It requires treatment where treatment is indicated. Stop calling depletion strength. True strength includes knowing when to replenish. Do it. Now. Not tomorrow. Now.
I want you to look at this image and receive what it is showing you. This is healing, not the kind you beg for, the kind that is being sent. Heaven has dispatched its own hand to touch the very thing in your body that has been broken or worn down or neglected. Look at the light in this image, feel it, because as of today, that light is moving toward your physical body. The healing that has been delayed is delayed no longer. Place your hand over the area in your body that needs it most and receive this.
Your mind also requires deliberate attention. The chronic low-level anxiety that has become your default background frequency, the relentless mental processing of worst-case outcomes, the hypervigilance that was once a legitimate protective response to genuinely unsafe conditions and that has now become an automated habit operating long after those original conditions changed. This must be consciously interrupted. Not by pretending challenges are absent, by deliberately and repeatedly redirecting your mental energy from what could go wrong toward what is already going right and what is arriving that is good. That is not wishful thinking. That is the disciplined stewardship of the most powerful instrument you own. A mindset on what is true, good, and forward-moving operates in a fundamentally different spiritual frequency than a mind consuming itself with worry. And the frequency of your mind directly affects the conditions of your life. Guard it today as the irreplaceable resource it is. I am now going to prepare you for 3 specific confirmations that are going to arrive in your visible, physical, natural life in the days immediately ahead. I am telling you about them in advance so that when they appear, you do not rationalize them away. You recognize them as the evidence of heaven's movement that they are. The first confirmation will arrive through an unexpected source of help. Someone you did not plan on, did not ask, and in some cases did not even know was aware of your situation, will step forward with something that addresses a real and pressing need. This is not charity. It is not a handout. It is a divine appointment arranged before either party was conscious of the arrangement. This person may be someone from your past who has not been actively present recently. It may be someone in a professional position, a person of authority or expertise who becomes unusually invested in your outcome. It may be someone at the edge of your social circle whose capacity to help you never occurred to you. Whatever the relationship, the help will be real, and the timing of its arrival will make its intentionality unmistakable. Receive it without excessive apology, without the reflex to minimize your need. You earned this. You are entitled to receive it. The second confirmation will be an unusual clarity on a decision that has been impossible to resolve. There is something you have been rotating back and forth on for weeks, possibly months. A crossroads where both directions carried arguments, and neither one produced a settled feeling of rightness. Within the 9-day window, the clarity you could not manufacture through your own reasoning will simply arrive, not through dramatic revelation, through a conversation or information you encounter, or a quiet interior, knowing that settles over you one morning like something solid landing in place. When that clarity comes, honor it by moving on it promptly. Clarity is a gift that does not survive indefinite postponement. When heaven shows you clearly which direction to walk, the only appropriate response is to begin walking.
The second confirmation Archangel Michael just described, the moment of unusual clarity, the sign you have been asking for. It is not far off. This card was placed in this envelope for the person who has been asking heaven for a sign and wondering if it was ever going to come. It is coming. Read this out loud and keep your eyes open.
The third confirmation will be a tangible sign from the other side, specific enough that you will know without question that it is meant for you. It may arrive through a dream so vivid and coherent that it bears no resemblance to your ordinary dreaming. It may come through a sound, a scent, an object, appearing in an unexpected place, or an experience that resists logical explanation. It may arrive through a song playing at an inexplicably perfect moment, or a phrase that surfaces in multiple unrelated places within a single day, or a number pattern that repeats with startling frequency. Whatever specific form it takes, receive it as what it is: a greeting, a confirmation, a tangible moment of contact from the love that surrounds your life from beyond what natural eyes can see. Do not dismiss it in the name of appearing rational. Rationalism serves you well in many places. This is not one of them. There are things that are real that logic alone will never be able to access. This confirmation will be one of them. We are now entering the final section. What I speak next are not suggestions. They are binding decrees, already sealed in the heavenly record, going into effect the moment you receive them. Do not close this letter before you have received every single one. Now, I will speak about faith itself, because I have made declarations over your life in this letter that require an honest examination of what receiving them fully actually demands. Faith is not a feeling. Do not make that mistake. It is a choice, a repeated, deliberate, sometimes hourly choice to operate as if the promises given to you are real before the visible evidence confirms them. And the reason this choice is hard has nothing to do with the reliability of the promises. It has to do with the part of your mind that has been managing risk and protecting you from disappointment for years. The part that has a legitimate memory of seasons when hope was extended and not rewarded. That protective part is not your enemy. It has been doing its job, but its job and faith's job are in direct conflict. Because faith, by definition, operates in the absence of the certainty that protection requires before it will commit. Both of them cannot be fully in control simultaneously. You must choose which one leads. What I am asking is not that you silence the protective part of you. It has earned its place. I am asking you to give it a different assignment during this season. Instead of tasking it with evaluating whether the promises are worth trusting, assign it to evaluate how to steward what has already been promised. Move it from, should I believe this, to how do I prepare for what I already believe is coming? That reassignment redirects the same mental and spiritual energy from doubt into preparation. And preparation is one of the most powerful expressions of faith available to you. When you make room for something, when you clear a space, start an arrangement, take a concrete step that only makes sense if the expected thing is actually going to arrive. You are declaring with your actions what you may sometimes struggle to declare with your words alone. Heaven responds to your actions as clearly as it responds to your words. So I'm asking you today, what is one practical thing you can do that only makes sense if what I have told you in this letter is true. One action, not a grand gesture. A small, specific, tangible step that signals to the universe that you believe the provision is on its way. Start the document. Clear the space. Make the call. Begin the preparation. That single action, taken in genuine faith today, carries more spiritual weight than 1,000 declarations spoken without a corresponding movement of the feet. Heaven honors evidence of faith. Even small evidence, especially small evidence, because small faith that moves is infinitely more powerful than large faith that only talks. Do it today. Now, to those receiving this message from a place of resistance, hope sitting alongside doubt, longing mixed with the armor that painful experience constructed, I want to speak to that resistance with total respect for what built it. You did not arrive at caution accidentally. You earned it through experiences that were genuinely costly. The fact that you are still here, still watching, still willing to consider that this message might carry something real for you, even with that resistance fully present, tells me everything I need to know about the quality of faith that lives underneath your protective layers. The hope never died. It went underground. It got quiet, but it never died. And today, it does not need to stay underground any longer. The season that made underground hope a necessary survival strategy is over. You are allowed to believe out loud now. You're allowed to expect good things visibly, without the fear that expecting them will somehow guarantee their absence. That fear is the last tool the enemy uses to hold people on the threshold of their breakthrough without ever crossing it. Do not let it work today.
Faith is not a feeling. Archangel Michael just said that. It is a force. And this image is what that force looks like when it is fully activated over a life. Look at this sword. This is not a symbol of violence. This is the symbol of a faith that has been set on fire. A faith that cuts through every invisible barrier between you and what has been promised. This is what your faith looks like to the spiritual realm when you choose to believe. Every time you choose, look at it and choose again right now. We are almost at the final section of this letter, and I need you to stay for every word of it, because what Archangel Michael declares next, those are the words I believe you came here today to receive.
Before I close this letter, I will make the final decrees over your life that I was sent to deliver. These are not encouragements. They are not prayers. They are binding spiritual declarations already established in the heavenly record before I brought them to you today. Receive them as such. It is decreed and established that the financial stranglehold on your life is permanently broken. The era of barely enough is over. What enters your life from this moment forward begins accumulating and building rather than evaporating the instant it arrives. The leak at the bottom of the vessel is sealed. The overflow has begun. The people who witnessed your season of shortage will watch your season of abundance with astonishment. And some will ask, what changed? What changed is that today the decree was delivered, and the opposing force that had been withholding what was always yours ran out of legal authority to continue doing so. It is decreed and established that your body is moving toward restoration. The things that have been wrong in your body for longer than is natural are subject to a healing that begins today. Your energy returns. The persistent discomfort diminishes. What fear told you was permanent proves itself to be seasonal. The body that has carried so much begins to receive what it requires to function at the level your next season demands of it. It is decreed and established that your household receives a new level of peace. The relational tensions that turned certain rooms and certain conversations into minefields begin to disarm. The family member who has been a source of deep concern begins to move toward resolution. The atmosphere in your home, physically, emotionally, spiritually, becomes lighter, more breathable, more like the sanctuary a home was always designed to be, and that yours has not been able to fully become during the pressured season you are leaving behind.
We are approaching the final section of this letter, and before Archangel Michael delivers the last of his decrees, he placed this card here, at this exact position, because he knew that some of you watching right now need to hear this before you receive the full closing decree. Read it. Let it land, because what follows is spoken with the full weight of heaven behind it.
It is decreed and established that the right people are entering your life, and the wrong ones are being naturally and permanently displaced. You will not manufacture this through confrontation. The misaligned simply drift away as the aligned draw near. What you will notice is not the departure, but the arrival of people whose presence adds rather than subtracts, who speak well of you and think well of you, and invest genuinely in your joy and your growth, and receive the same from you in return. Your circle becomes smaller and more real, and inside that smaller, more real circle, you find a quality of connection that the larger, more performative version was never capable of providing. It is decreed and established that your purpose activates in this season with specificity and momentum that previous seasons could not sustain. The particular combination of gift and experience and passion that constitutes the irreplaceable contribution only you can make finds its conditions met in this season. The resources arrive, the connections align, the platform expands. The people whose lives you are meant to touch begin finding their way to you. What was always in you, but never had the right environment to fully express itself, begins expressing itself. The world that receives it will be genuinely changed, not because you are perfect, because you are real, and real, battle-tested, hard-won wisdom changes people in ways that polished performance never can. It is decreed and established that you are permanently protected. From this day forward, every assignment operating against your life functions under a restraining order issued from the highest court in existence. What was sent against you either returns to its source or dissolves before it reaches you. The spiritual perimeter around your life is not a suggestion. It is a wall. And standing at the gate of that wall today is the same one who was dispatched to speak to you through this letter, the one carrying a sword that no opposing force in this universe has ever successfully stood against. You are covered completely, irrevocably. Walk in the certainty of that covering from this moment forward. Before this letter closes, I will pray over you. Wherever you are right now, whether alone or surrounded, whether this has been a good day or the kind of day that drove you to this message looking for something solid to hold? I want you to place your hands open in your lap with your palms facing upward. This is not ceremony. It is the physical expression of an internal posture, openness to receive. And receiving is the primary thing this season is calling you to. Most High, I stand before you on behalf of every soul who received this letter today. I bring each one by name. Not the name I do not possess, but the name written in the heavenly record. The name you spoke when you first imagined them into existence. The name that has never been absent from your attention, regardless of how absent and forgotten they have sometimes felt. Seal every word of this letter deep into the soil of their spirit. Let the enemy, who comes immediately after this message ends to steal what was planted here, find the ground already protected, already prepared, already closed to his access. Let what was spoken here take root. Let it grow. Let it produce fruit so specific in its timing and its form that it is unmistakably yours and no one else's. Let them see your hand in what unfolds, and let what they see build in them a quality of trust that difficulty alone could never construct, because trust forged in fire holds in ways that trust built in comfort simply cannot. Protect their bodies, restore their health, open the financial channels that were suppressed against them. Heal what can be healed and release them cleanly from what cannot. Bring to them the people this new season requires, and remove from their orbit every person who was never serving their growth. And above all, remind them today. Remind them in a way that is personal and specific and undeniable that they are loved, that they have always been loved, that the love that created them has never, not for one single moment, turned its face away from them, that the love at the center of everything spoken in this letter is not conditional, not temporary, not contingent on their performance, not revocable by their failures, that it is the kind of love that sends an archangel to a doorstep before sunrise to make sure a letter arrives before the day starts. Let them feel the full weight of that love today, in your name and by your authority. Amen. If something shifted in you while that prayer was spoken over you, that was not imagination. Something real happened in the spiritual atmosphere surrounding your life. Receive it. Let it stay.
This is the final image from the envelope, and I want you to really look at it before I say anything else. This is the covenant. This is the promise. This is the agreement between heaven and your name that was established before you were born, and that Archangel Michael delivered to this door before sunrise this morning to make sure you received it today. This letter was sealed in heaven, and it was opened for you. Keep this image. Let it remind you every time doubt tries to speak louder than the promise, that what heaven seals, nothing can break. I have been sitting with that letter since before the sun came up, and having now read every word of it to you, I understand why it was left on my porch in the dark. I understand why it would not let me rest until it was in your hands. If something in this message reached into a real place in your life today, I want you to do one thing right now before you close this video. Go to the comment section and type the word open. Just that one word, because that is exactly what today is asking of you. To be open, open to receive what is coming, open to believe what heaven declared over you in this letter, open to the new season that this message is marking the beginning of. Type it. Mean it. Let it stand as your declaration that you were here, that you received this, and that you are choosing to step forward into everything this letter promised. If you are not yet subscribed to this channel, do that right now. This is Letters from Archangel Michael, and letters arrive here because they are meant for someone specific. You are already proof of that because you are here. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that the next letter carrying your name finds you the moment it arrives. I would not want you to miss it. And if someone in your life is in the middle of what this letter describes, carrying too much alone, waiting for a sign that something is about to change, on the edge of giving up on a prayer they have held for a very long time, please share this video with them today. You may not fully understand why the impulse is there. Trust it anyway. The same hand that placed this letter on my porch before sunrise may be using your impulse to share as the exact mechanism by which their letter finds them. Go and live like the breakthrough is already in motion. Because it is. The angel said so. And in my experience with these letters, the angel is always, always right.